Well, we ended the music a little bit early, so you will have to deal with that as we slide across the screen and do what we're supposed to do. We have the classic Boogie with the Bull, no bullshit logo up in the upper left or right hand corner of your screen because that's where we are right now. No bullshit. We have 55 Republican senators who have done their job and they're ready to pass a clean, continuing resolution. We need 5 Democrats to join us because we need a total of 60 votes in order to pass it. A clean, continuing resolution is just a bill that allows the government to keep on operating. Any other money, the $1.5 trillion that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wants, he has to battle it out and earn it. Okay? I don't care to hear that it might be inclusive of illegal immigrants getting free health care. It may bring down costs for Americans who have health care. The ACA or Obama care, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It will bring your costs down. The Republicans are in favor of that. They're working on that. They're working the right way. Pass the continuing resolution and then reopen the government and then let the appropriate committees battle it out until hopefully you can pass it. We have people who depend on the government for a salary, our military, that will not get paid as of October 15th. But the very people we sent to Washington, D.C., continue to get paid. So they can make this thing last as long as they want. Then maybe they can decide, well, we're not going to send out Social Security. Don't tell me that they can't, because they'll figure out a way to do it if they want to do it. They'll stop sending you whatever entitlements you're entitled to as an American citizen and basically fuck us over. And I'm tired of being fucked over. Okay? I really am. I worked hard before we started this broadcast today that I would keep my voice at a manageable level because where we live, they can hear me on both sides if I raise my voice, and I'm not going to raise my voice anymore. They could have heard me on the phone yesterday when I was just saying, enough is enough. I'm done. I do what I do, and I do it very well, and I will continue to do it very well, whether you join me or you don't. So the live chat is open on the Dave Glovin profile. It's the only one on Facebook that we monitor, and the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. That is the only one we monitor on YouTube. We take it from YouTube in podcast form and ship it around the internet as best as we can because I don't have 2 people on the screen talking, so I can't do it myself when we're live. If you would like it in your group, let me know, and I will make sure that I get it into your group as best as I can. That's what I want to do. On YouTube, take it from the YouTube channel and pass it around to all of the internet you go to, and maybe we'll grow some. Anybody is welcome to join me on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. All you need to do is go into the live chat on the Dave Glovin profile on Facebook, once again, or the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel on YouTube, and simply ask for the link. The only thing I ask is that you treat me as equally as you would like to be treated, and then we'll give it a go. I really don't want to talk about the fact that our government is screwed up, and it's screwed up by 5 Democrats who won't vote like they should to pass a continuing resolution that allows the government to operate so we can reopen the government, and then they can do whatever the hell they want until their next elections come up. I don't care who the governor of California is, other than I don't want Gavin Newsom to be the governor of California. I don't live in California, but the reason I don't want him to be the governor of California is that right now he is pushing Senate Bill 771 through the Democrat majority of the California state legislature that will allow him to go to Facebook and say, you now owe us $500,000 because you dared to send someone into California that I don't like. Change the algorithm and never do it again, because if you do, it will cost you $1 million the next time. I'd like to see Gavin Newsom take that to FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, and get that passed. Okay? Enough is enough. Enough is enough is enough. Okay? We picked Facebook 4 years ago for a reason. Facebook is global. We can be global. Okay? It doesn't cost us anything to be global on Facebook. It doesn't cost us anything to be global on YouTube. That's what we want. We want to be global. We're not in this for the money. We're not looking to be rich and famous. We're just looking to give you information that you need to hear, and at the same time, give you a format to come into a live chat and or join me on the broadcast and tell me what I need to know, because I don't know everything. And at the same time, we want to bring a panel on from time to time that doesn't want to talk politics. They want to talk the news of the day, which is not always political. We want to talk about what's going on in America. We want to talk about how that affects America in the world. And we want to throw in, for no additional charge, a generous helping of whatever comes out of my mouth or the people watching the broadcast. Let me click this over for a second and go over to this one and turn. Oops, I thought I turned it on. There we go. Philip Morris joins us. Philip Marshall.
Good morning.
Philip Marshall joins us. I apologize for that. Philip Morris is a cigarette company that I probably should not have brought up this morning. But I'm doing okay, Philip. How are you doing?
Well, I'm getting over several days of rain down here. I'm down, near Daytona.
Okay.
So we've had a whole lot of those bands of rain come through. Nothing super major where I am, but pretty good. Rain for an hour or two, stop for an hour, rain for an hour. Yeah, you ain't going anywhere.
No. Well, we faced it in Jacksonville yesterday, and literally it's maybe, 20 feet from my front door to the laundry shed, and it felt like 200 square feet yesterday because it decided to pour down rain. So I understand exactly what you are talking about. And I don't know if it's the weather gods who are controlling it or the humans that want to be weather gods that are controlling it, because I love living in Florida, but the weather stinks because you never know what it's going to be.
I've lived all over this country, well, all over this side of the Mississippi, and it's pretty much the same everywhere. You're going to get strange stuff going on, but the last 2 weeks, I've been pretty much inside anyways. We have been food. We've been dehydrating and canning for the last 2 weeks, and we're down to tomatoes and onions at this point, which is always interesting. I'm actually thinking of buying a freeze-dry unit.
Hey, what?
And doing some a freeze-dry unit.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just dehydrating, doing some freeze-drying.
Yep.
But my problem is that I have old world values, so I start shopping for these things, and I start with the cheap one, and then by the time I find the one that I really want, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to pay that kind of money for that.
I hear you. Because if I could,
when you can process food that's going to last for 25 years, you only need a few seasons. You grow enough stuff to process that you have a few years supply of food put away.
Yep. This is very true. You get older and you realize that you don't have to feed the entire world. You want to, but you want to take care of yourself, your wife, maybe any kids that live at home, maybe the next door neighbors if you want to. But everybody works together and it works. But lately, I have wanted to find my car keys and drive myself away from Facebook, and I don't drive it anymore, so I guess I'm stuck here. But
well, at my particular point in life, all of my friends, like myself, are in their 70s plus.
Okay.
I'm the one that still has the big SUV, and I drive.
Yep.
So we pile into my Denali, and off we go.
Yep, and I'm the one that would be the same way. Having we had a expedition that came from the Massachusetts State Police, so it was a fast vehicle when it needed to be, but it got 9 miles and 13 miles to the gas station, and it was comfortable, but was definitely not built for the speed that it could do. But yeah, I lost my license because I didn't lose it. They let me at least voluntarily turn it in, and it's probably a good thing because between Parkinson's and dementia, they tell me, and whatever else, I couldn't be driving anyway. But I love it so much that I would, if I could, find my car keys and drive myself away from the internet.
Yeah,
sometimes.
my trips used to be up and down the coast, and now my trip is like, let me see, I think I'll go over to Orange City, 7 miles away, and shop over there.
Yep. We went to Texas to visit our youngest son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandchildren. And my son delayed buying a steering wheel and pedals for various driving games that he had until we got there. And I swear that's about all I did on vacation when my grandkids were asleep. And I remember my grandson came into the room as I had finally figured out how to get up to Sutro Tower in San Francisco. And I know where it is. I just never drove up to it because I was afraid of getting in trouble. And when I finally drove up to it in the game, I didn't allow myself enough room to make a U-turn to leave, and I drove off the cliff, and I totaled a police SUV that I was driving, and my grandson had to be 2 or 3, and he thought it was the funniest thing he ever saw. He thought it was so funny that he called my son in, who took a picture of it on the screen so that he would have it forever of Dad, the professional driver, totaling a vehicle. But I learned that it can be very relaxing to just get in a car and drive, which I already knew. When I would get into trouble with various limousine companies, I would go out for a drive. When it became my own, I would go out for a drive. And I just suddenly don't know where my car keys are.
Well, there you go. About 20 years ago, I got up one morning and I said, I'm going on vacation. And I didn't know where. I packed a bunch of stuff in the car, and I took off. I was up in North Carolina. I drove down Route 77 to Route 40, and I went west. And I came back 31 days later. I went down to Oklahoma. I went down to Texas. I went to the Carlsberg Cabins. I went to the UFO town. I went to White Sands, New Mexico. I went to Fargo. I went to Black Mountain. I went to Grand Canyon. And I'm going to tell you, anybody that you see pictures of Grand Canyon and you say, wow, that's really something. In today's world, you look at those pictures online, you think, that must be photoshopped, all those colors and stuff.
Yep.
There is nothing more amazing than looking down the Grand Canyon and going, wow, that is real.
Yeah.
It is just unbelievable to see that.
It has to be. And I always wanted to take this thing on the road. I never wanted to sit behind a microphone in a studio and talk to someone in every state in the union. I wanted to go to every state in the union and talk to people and do it live. And now unfortunately I can't, but it doesn't stop me from wanting to do it. And of course, the news of the day is we're now in like day 365 of the government shutdown, which requires 5 Democrats to pull their heads out of their rectums, for lack of putting it better, and just vote and pass a bill that is supposed to be clean. The House has already done it. We're waiting on the Senate. We're waiting on the president to sign it. And then, hey, it's business as usual, but nobody wants it to be that way. So
this amazes me because of all the things that they fear that the power structure we have now will do, is that the Democrats are handing Donald Trump and the executive branch the ability to do all the things they've been trying to stop them from doing. All the people who've been appointed that were sitting there that were in a group, so they did, 107 of them or something the other day in one shot. They had 40-something of them before that. All those ambassadors are now in place. And yesterday, they started doing permanent firings of unessential people. Now, I'm not a real fan of any kind of a government shutdown, because there are things that I think should be permanently paid for.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to get a taste of people that we don't need working for the government, and there's probably an extra 100 or 200,000 of them that are there that are just embedded in jobs that you never even imagined that was a job.
Right.
And they go to work every day, and they sit there and they go tippity tap on their computer. They're probably talking to the person in the cubicle next to them, and they're getting a paycheck.
Right. Or they're just getting a paycheck.
Yeah, I don't want my military to ever go unpaid or unfed, any condition whatsoever. And if you can't pay them, then your staff isn't getting paid in Congress, so you're not getting a paycheck. You're not even getting a ride home. You can hitchhike home from Congress.
Right.
That isn't happening. I don't want air traffic controllers to go on.
Right.
I remember what happened when Ronald Reagan fired the whole lot of them one day. And that was a disaster for 10 years. That was it. And we still today have a ramification. I don't think we ever caught up with the number of air traffic controllers we needed to have.
I don't think
because we're too busy sending people to college instead of sending them to learn how to do that kind of a trade.
Well, Elon Musk said it best about college. Not everybody needs to go. Some people will be happy building iPhones in their new plant in California, I believe it's going to be, or they'll cross over and build refrigerators for GE in their new plant, wherever it's going to be, and they could be happy. But hey, we need qualified people that can build cars and refrigerators and all this stuff that's going to come back. And maybe, you might remember the brand Curtis Mathis was the best TV set you could have. And then I think Zenith kind of took it over as being the best one you could have, the one that everybody wanted. But hey, maybe we'll see the return of Curtis Mathis.
That was a label, boy. I'll tell you, and there were labels back in the day. There were labels that meant something. When you looked at the product by that company, you knew that was quality.
Yeah.
And when it comes to trades, now I've been retired pretty much from my regular work since 2016.
Okay.
I'll take it quickly back to it. There was a young fellow that I was working with. Now, I worked as a contract laborer for Marathon Oil for years.
Okay.
There was a young fellow, I'm going to say he was 21, 22, maybe 23, maybe. But he was a young fellow. And he was a welder. He didn't have any major responsibilities in life. Didn't have a wife. Lived in a nice home that I found out later he'd actually purchased for himself, for his parents could also live there.
Yep.
He come into work one day and he had a brand new Escalade. And I said, my God, isn't that an awful lot of money to spend on a vehicle for just you? And he looked at me and he smiled and he says, said, I don't do anything but work and I'm on call 24 hours a day. If I get called to come in and weld one little thing, I get paid for 8 hours by union contract. Yep. I made $175,000 last year.
Yeah.
I went, wow.
Yeah.
He said, I got a brother that's been a teacher for 10 years and he doesn't even break 60 grand.
I got called in to consult on a new security company in California. We ended up not doing it, but I sat down with the board of investors. We didn't have a board of directors. We had a board of investors, people that were going to put up money. And I looked at every single one of them because I was going to be the CEO if it happened. And I said, I'm going to be on the road 18 to 24 hours a day for the first couple of weeks getting this thing going. I want to be comfortable while I'm on the road. And they said to me, what do you want? I said, I want a Porsche with a big ass whale tail. And they said, okay. My vice CEO went before them and he said something that he wanted. And they said no. And then I looked at him and I said no, because you don't need it. Or you can take your salary and go buy it, but you don't need it. I need it because I'm going to be on the road, like I said, for all of my life, for the next couple of weeks or forever, trying to build something, and I deserve the right to be comfortable while I do it. Now it wouldn't be a big ass Porsche with a big ass whale tail. I just wanted to make a statement that, we're the company you don't want to mess with. So, now, since I have to be driven, I might ask for a Expedition or a Navigator. Well, now I probably wouldn't, because they're not like they were before. Even the Escalades aren't like what they were before.
No, I've been shopping for what'll probably be my last car, and I'm definitely I'm in the market for a Lexus. I've had a couple of them before. They're not a breakable automobile. No. The amount of driving I do, I'm looking for something between 2016 and 2021. I don't want a brand new one because I'm not going to pay $75,000 for one.
My mother went walking on. There were both lots across the street from each other, a Lexus and a Toyota. And it turned out the guy who actually owned the dealership is the guy that she talked to. And he said, what do you want? She said, I want everything except a sunroof. I don't have any reason for ever having a sunroof in my car. I want everything else. He said, cross the street, look at the Toyota Avalon. It's exactly what you want. It will save you thousands of dollars. And she bought one for $28,000 as opposed to spending something like $40,000 for a Lexus. And she was happier than shit until they, of course, took her license away. And I drove it for a couple of years, and fortunately for me, it needed to be repaired before I lost my license. They tell you now that when you move a car from the northeast, where it spent most of its life, to the southeast down here in Florida, that you need to treat the undercarriage before you bring it down here. Otherwise, it's going to rust, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, down here, I'm not far from Orlando in that. The used car market is amazing. If, all of us old folks that come down here, they bring their luxury cars and then they sell them off because they don't want that great big boat anymore. And they're going to get a little RAV4 or a little Corolla or something like that, or a Hyundai to tool around in. You drive by a used car lot that's a little nothing thing on the side of the road with 10 cars in it, and there's 5 luxury automobiles on the front line.
We bought, I wish I had met them. We bought my last car, which was a 1999 Lincoln Town Car, from a couple who I think lived in New York for half the time, and the car lived in a garage in Florida all the time. And they just didn't need it anymore, like you just said. And they put it up on Marketplace for one day, and I think we took pictures or saw pictures of it, and then sent the car to a local mechanic we know here in Florida, and he said, you are crazy if you don't buy this car. And we bought it. We got lots of mileage until it got rear-ended. Nothing we tried, but the roof looked like an A-frame house when.
Boy, if you bent the roof on a town car, you hit it.
They didn't bend the roof, but I meant the hood.
Oh.
They hit the trunk so hard that it buckled, and we ended up hitting the Mercedes in front of us. And I don't know why God did this, but that Mercedes in front of us didn't get a scratch. That Toyota behind us was parked in my trunk, and it drove away from the scene too. But my town car was totaled. It was absolutely totaled. And then
what's the thought of this Nobel Peace Prize deal?
Give it to Trump if they wanted to give it to Trump. Where I'm at is if I was president right now, the Nobel Peace Prize money wouldn't mean a goddamn thing to me. The fact that I tracked peace, and hopefully a lasting peace in an area that's never had a lasting peace before, honestly, that's enough for me.
I think they didn't give it to him for 2 reasons. One, because of Trump's derangement syndrome with a lot of people in the one world order. And 2, because he made a big point of the fact that he wanted it. If you'd have just, I really love having Donald Trump my president, but sometimes I sit back and I say, shut up. Yeah. Just shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes there's too much apprentice, too much show.
I have an uncle from Queens. He's exactly the same kind of person. There isn't a thing he doesn't have something to say about.
I would love nothing more than to be invited to meet him at Mar-a-Lago and share a good steak dinner. And I don't smoke, and he doesn't smoke, so we'd be in a den drinking something besides smoking cigars, I'm sure. But it would be great. But yeah, there's always the fear that he's going to bring up something that I can't top. So,
the Middle East thing amazes me because, in my opinion, that process started with someone that I think was a wonderful human being, but a terrible president, was Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
The guy was not qualified to have the job, but he was a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
And now we have someone that I think is probably the best, or at least number 2, because I'm a Reagan boy. But it's right up at the very top of the pyramid. It's finally, because you can't negotiate with him when it comes to certain things. Finally, they said we need to buckle under him and bring peace to this area.
We're just trying to.
I think they finally said they didn't want to face a morning where they got up and they decided they had to fight both the United States and Israel, because that happened with the Iranians one night at 2:00 in the morning, and that stopped that game right quick.
Yeah.
So
I don't know enough, and I should, but I don't know enough to whether or not trust that what starts with Israel is going to stay in Israel, or whether or not they're going to try to dominate the entire world. And I just, politics for me, I kind of follow a little bit of it to know what's going on, and then I kind of stay away from a lot of it because I don't want to know what's going on. I mean, we can have peace negotiated in Israel with Hamas, but we can't have peace in Ukraine, which I think is a war that was started by Joe Biden and company to want to launder money.
I definitely agree with that.
But 20 years ago he was a senator, and no, was he still a senator? I don't know. But no, he was probably in the White House still and stealing everything he could. And I don't buy his dementia is really dementia. I think he's hiding behind a lot of things. And when it all comes out in the wash, he's going to be a very old man that you can't send to prison. Which is basically what Robert Hur said. But you can send him somewhere, but it shouldn't have been back to work at the White House. Go ahead.
I think Joe Biden's family is a classic example of elder abuse.
Yeah.
This is a person that became someone that had a powerful position that could be manipulated very easily. He had very few people he could trust because of his condition, and they abused that trust, I think, immensely.
They did. I don't think they were meant to do that. I always thought that Kamala Harris got to ride his coattails into the White House. And then once she was there, it was her job to use the 25th Amendment until the cabinet secretaries, I think, said, hell no. It ain't happening.
Obama said, I need someone second fiddle that's dumber than me.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden said, I need someone second fiddle that's dumber than me. And you saw who Kamala Harris chose, who would have been her second fiddle.
Yeah.
So that ball was rolling downhill right from the very start.
Yeah. And when she put her foot down and said, I'm the nominee, I'm going, yeah, you're the nominee of the end of the Democrat Party.
Well, I thought it was a wonderful idea, and the whole idea that maybe AOC and Jasmine Crockett could run together. I'd send them $50 to help them get that ball started, because what a wonderful ticket, for my opinion. I want them to be the opposition.
If AOC decides to run for Chuck Schumer's seat in the Senate, I actually, if I lived in New York, would break party lines. My grandfather would roll in his grave, but I would vote for AOC. Because
I think if she ran against Schumer, I think she would blow him out in New York right now.
Oh God, she would blow him
out.
She would blow him out. I don't think he's going to survive coming back at the end of this. I don't think the Democrat Party is going to survive at the end of this, because you can't blame on the Republicans things they didn't do. We did not shut down the government. 5 Democrats shut down the government. We said we got 55 Republicans who want to keep it going. They just don't want to play the game anymore.
Yeah, we have one Republican in Rand Paul who will vote no for every money bill under the sun. He wants to pay salaries for a few things in military, and that's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't. So that's always going to be that vote. And then you have the one Democrat that wears hoodies that votes more like a Republican when it really comes to common sense.
When I want to see John Fetterman just cross over for the hell of crossing over. I mean, if he's that afraid of they're going to tell him to wear suits, I wish I had a credit card. I would take him and buy him all the suits that he needed. I mean, it's probably uncomfortable. He's a big, tall guy with a wide neck, and he may not He may
Well,
not be
if you were a clothes
comfortable.
designer, how much money could you make if you designed a hoodie that when you zipped it up, it looked like a tuxedo? If he
You
could put
probably.
that on and a pair of black
Oh,
pants, he'd be right. He'd look sharp.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you could, because you see the skaters where the males are wearing zip-up tuxedos. It can't be. It can't be hard. It can't be hard to do. You know, be mad at the guy because he's wearing a hoodie, but hey, he needs to be
Well,
comfortable. I've seen pictures of him in a suit before up there, and
I've seen him in a suit. I think
yeah,
Fetterman is more of an example of a liberal than a leftist. He's not. He's
yeah,
not a blown out leftist,
yeah,
but he's not a conservative.
no,
He's an over world liberal. I mean, the Kennedy. I grew up in Cape Cod. Um, the Kennedys were liberals. Today they would have been extreme conservatives, but they were liberals. They had moral value.
yep,
And the problem with Schumer is he's burnt both ends of the stick now. He's burnt the basic, reasonably moral liberals in the Democratic Party with this one. And last time when he caved, as they put it, he burnt the leftist end.
yeah,
So I don't think surviving as the leader in the Senate when this is
right,
over, anyways, because he doesn't have any power on either end of the stick.
right. You know, I think he got all of his power from when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker, because he used to follow her like a puppy dog and take every order he got from her. But
Well, her family was very powerful in New Jersey and New York.
was she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
her family, her parents, her dad, I guess, they had
Yeah.
a lot of political power in New Jersey and New York,
Okay.
and
Well,
so they had a lot of East Coast and over the years, all the time she was there, she developed an immense amount of power on the West Coast.
yeah.
She could wheel a checkbook out of people that she could call a few people for $125 a scoop ice cream in her living room and produce $1.5 million in an afternoon.
Yep.
When you're in a political business, you can't argue with that kind of power.
No.
No.
I guess slide down here for a second.
And Gavin Newsom is what? He's their nephew or something, right? Yeah.
Well,
Gavin Newsom is related to Pelosi.
no, he actually really isn't. What
Okay.
the Pelosi link is that his aunt Barbara, who he spent a lot of time with because her parents, William and Teresa Newsom, divorced, and Teresa worked every job she could get to support her son, her and her son. So when Barbara married Paul Pelosi's brother, I forget his name, and became a Pelosi. He, if you look at his whatever they call that, genealogy, yeah, he has no connection to the Pelosi's. He has no connection to Nancy through her
No
family.
bloodline there.
Yeah, no bloodline. Absolutely no bloodline. So and like I said at the beginning, I am not a Gavin fan. As a broadcaster, I am in odds against this SB 771, which would give him the power to shut off anything in California that he doesn't want from a social media company that makes $100 million a year or more. So, I could get shut off because they don't like what I say. But if I was in another state, I couldn't shut him off. So
Yeah, he's a work of art.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a real work of art. Yep.
I don't see him being president because there are other people that other Democrats that probably have a turn coming long before he does, or a long list of losers that won't be there. Uh, you know, at the beginning, I wasn't sure about J.D. Vance because I hadn't learned or heard enough about him. But now I'm warming up to Mr. Vance. I'm still kind of warming up to. I'm very warm about Tulsi Gabbard, but I don't think that she will give up what she has and risk running for president and losing. I think she's very happy where she is right now as director of national security.
Yeah, I'm impressed with JD Vance. He is controlled, outspoken.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of things I think he doesn't say, but when he puts his foot down, he wants to make a statement. When he first went over the first time to Europe and had a little conversation with all the NATO people and all of that, and pretty much pulled the rug out from under them and insulted them, he did a very good job of it. He represented America with a no argument type of attitude. And I'm also very impressed as he's grown into his position is Rubio.
Yeah.
He's I never saw him as a diplomatic person, and he seems to be a no holds barred. This is the way it is. These are the rules. We're going to follow this. I can do it. And I think he's earned a lot of respect on the world stage in a very short period of time.
Yep. Do you think he was a good move for USAID and ripping it apart, closing down most of it, even though Democrats are still trying for more of it?
So those are places that had to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All those little NGOs.
Yeah.
People, I think, too many Americans still viewed them as what they were. You know, Radio Free Europe was something that was a big deal at one time. And that whole thing morphed into PBS and all the other BS.
Yeah.
What it ended up being was a worthless organization to funnel money to the wrong people. If you could bring it back to what it was, I'm perfectly in favor of financing something like that. If you wanted to broadcast into Iran, if you wanted to broadcast into Afghanistan, if you wanted to broadcast things into China and Russia, a truthful thing, I don't have a problem with that. But that program wasn't what it started being, and there are people I think that are offended that USAID went away, but it's not what it's not what it was in their mind.
No. It was money in people's pockets that didn't need to get that money put in their pockets. Bernie Sanders is said to have taken something like $44 million Obama got for him for something. And, he's doing a good job of hiding it if he took it. But the idea, Bernie Sanders.
He's the poster child for an American communist, isn't he?
I think he's the poster child for I gotta go. Get out of the way and go somewhere else. But, to me, an independent isn't an independent if you're in a caucus of a party, because you're not voting for yourself, you're voting for that party. So you're really not an independent.
Well, he couldn't have won as a Democrat and he couldn't have won as a Republican.
Right.
So he ran as an independent and he beat the Republican and the Democrat. And that's where he comes from.
Yeah. But a true independent can go, okay, and kind of make a decision based on that. But I'm really not an independent, so I don't understand how that works.
But a true independent disrupts the balance of power in Washington because if there are 49 Republicans and 49 Democrats in the Senate and 2 independents, nobody controls anything.
Right.
But if those 2 independents decide to caucus with one side or the other, that side becomes the leader.
This is true.
And like you said, that's not an independent, in my opinion.
No, it's
An
not.
independent votes. Actually, any of them can vote any way they want, but a true independent doesn't sit there and wields that power. Doesn't turn the key that says you're in power now because I sit with you.
Right. That is true. I don't see AOC ever hitting a position of power. I really don't. I mean, I hope she doesn't, but maybe she will. You know, we
I
would
think
be
she's acquired an awful lot of power at this stage of the game.
yeah. But she's young and she's got time to serve. But I hope term limits happen. But I don't imagine that they will happen when we're trying to limit the people that already have the terms. And you have to be on both sides of that. You have to look and go that Chuck Grassley is 92 years old. Maybe it's time for him to go. But at the same token, Nancy Pelosi is 85 years old. She's been there half her life. She needs to go. What keeps me going is it looks like there are more of them that need to go, like Maxine Waters. I don't even know why Maxine Waters is there. I really don't. I don't know how she pulls it off every reelection. I don't know how Susan Collins on our side pulls it off in Maine either. Every year
we have people on our side that sometimes make sense that I think need to go. Lindsey Graham is not a person I like.
No, but sometimes he can say the right thing. That's the problem. And everybody is looking at him going, yeah, that's a great idea. But sometimes, yeah, a lot of what comes out of his mouth is
and then you have people that are the most entertaining senators in the world, like Senator Kennedy from Louisiana.
Yep, Senator Kennedy.
If I see his picture on the screen, I stop, I watch. And whatever he's got to say is going to be a chuckle. I'm interested.
Yep. I guess I haven't been able to actually find the interview, but I guess he was interviewed by Joy Behar on The View one day, and she said something to him, and he literally said "F you" and walked out. Just wasn't going to do it anymore.
Wow. To push his button, that a man that has a quip to come back with anything, that must have been what hell of a statement she made to him to have him walk out like that.
But by the same token, I look for the day that George Soros actually has to go testify, and not his son Alex, who has to go testify anyway. But I think it's a new game. George is done. I think his son Alex is done. Schumer's done. I mean, I think Schumer's done anyway, regardless of how this thing comes off, because if it goes over 15 days and our troops don't get paid, I think Schumer is done, period.
And the Republicans are not going to cave to his demands just to pay the military.
No.
They won't do it.
No.
And
he's going.
What happens if something totally unusual comes up, and Elon Musk decides to lend the government $1 billion to pay the troops with no interest?
Yeah.
What happens if he does? And then there's a couple of people that could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a person that could do something like that. There's a way to get this done to get them paid. Like I said yesterday when I texted you when you were on, they hadn't missed a paycheck until today.
Right.
So the whole thing of crying in pain, there was no pain, because if something had happened last night, you never would have known that you were not on the payroll.
Right.
You just never would have known. Part of my worry, because we have a lot of military heritage in our family, is there are people that are not, the PX is not open. And if you're living on base, and your family would, your wife is on base and you're overseas, Probably she's doing most of her shopping at the PX for groceries and everything else.
Yep.
And that's not over. There are little things like that that make a massive difference to a military family. That deeply worries me. The VA is operating. I have family that goes to my grandson was at the VA yesterday. There's no more than the average delay, which is always a pain in the ass with the VA anyway. It always has been. But I don't think that the Republicans do not cave to this. Give it to illegal.
No.
That just can never happen no matter what. Eventually we'll come around. There are enough cracks in the Democratic Party that eventually I think so 4 more people will cross over.
I think they will.
There's no doubt that Fetterman is ready to vote there. They need 4 more. 4 more will cross over and it will reopen on a continuing resolution, at which point they're not going to negotiate these demands at all. It's never negotiable. 8 weeks to 10 weeks down the road, this is still going to be a problem. Democrats, it's not going to be in the bill. Period.
Yeah.
So they're barking up a tree. They thought they were barking up a pine tree, and they're barking up a redwood.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I don't know how he can sleep at night thinking, I mean, come on, $1.5 trillion in new spending. What makes him think we're going to approve that, especially on a continuing resolution? What makes him think we're going to add that pork to a continuing resolution?
I don't know. The guy put a piece of cheese on a raw hamburger on a grill for a promo shot, right?
Yeah.
So who knows what he thinks?
This is true. What else do we got? What else is on your mind to face America with this morning?
Well, I follow commodities a lot.
Yeah.
And oil broke under $60 yesterday. Oil probably, I didn't look this morning, but oil probably broke under $58 a barrel this morning. So you can feel pretty confident that if you're driving around in the next 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to get $2 or less gasoline.
Yeah.
That $60 was a barrier in the market. Yeah. And that barrier has been broke, and it's fallen more than $1 under that barrier. That's really big on the market. The spot buyers are not going to pay $61 tomorrow. They're going to be offering $55.
With so much here in this country, I don't understand why we ever started buying it outside of this country anyway. And all of those people should probably be, well, I won't say it, but all of those people should probably be no longer in control of this.
Well, now you're in a field I worked in for years. There's a reason for the oil we buy and process. We cannot process some of the light crude oil that we get up in America. That Texas intermediary, a lot of that oil is too light. And this goes back to the environmentalists stop the ability to revamp the refineries. The refineries are set up for some of the crude oil, like heavy sulfur oil. That's what they can process very easily. They cannot afford to shut the refinery down and you can't build a new refinery. So they can't process the oil in America. So we trade that off on the open market for the oil that we can process.
Okay.
And this is why they don't have any refineries running, or only a couple refineries running in California now.
Yeah.
Because every time they come to the point where a refinery needed to have a turnaround where they would revamp the equipment in the refinery, California would not give them a permit to do it.
Yeah, and there was talk of Kevin O'Leary and his group of billionaire investors were going to do it a few times out in California. They were going to buy them, take them over, revamp them, and nope. I might as well just let him sit there. You know, I don't.
And now he says he doesn't want to do business in New York or California.
Yeah, yeah. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And
What do you think of a socialist communist person running for mayor of New York?
I don't think Zohan actually has a chance. I really don't. I mean, I want to think that he doesn't have a chance, but on our side, I don't know if we have a strong enough person to beat him.
I don't think Cuomo can beat him, and I wouldn't want Cuomo anyways. But
Right.
I'll tell you 3 places I think will benefit if that guy gets elected: Charlotte, North Carolina, Miami, Florida, and Dallas, Fort Worth. And the reason I say that is because those 3 hubs have a great deal of financial clout.
Yeah.
There are big regional and big national banks that have hubs in those areas. And with today's electronics and everything online, it will take nothing to move Wall Street to Charlotte, Miami, or Dallas. If they leave, New York City collapses.
That's probably why you'll never see them actually leave New York. Will they listen to him anymore? I don't know. But I don't know if they'll pull out of New York. Yeah. But maybe they would. Dallas is probably the spot that you would move to. Dallas is the spot Elon Musk is moving to. He's not moving he's not moving everything out of California, but he's moving enough of it that California is going to hurt.
He's moved the headquarter people out.
Yeah, that's what he was going to move out.
He's done the brain drain.
Yeah. So, they could be hurting from that. I don't know who else has moved recently. It's easy, like you said, probably to relocate Silicon Valley to Dallas if they haven't already done it. I don't know. I do not know. It's a different world than when you were my age, I'm sure, and I'm 63. So,
well, good Lord, I grew up with a rabbit ears and 3 channels on TV. I grew up, we had to take the bearings out of the front wheel of the car and repack them every spring. We had points and condensers and used a matchbook to do your points to make sure they were right. And the things that we did that I grew up doing that are just not heard of today. And then to come into my 50s, I went back to college in my 50s to get another degree. And I was so amazed at the ignorance of the students around me when it came to government that this will kill you. This will kill you, Dave. In my 50s, I ran for president of student government.
Oh, gosh.
And won. I was president of the student senate at the college.
Yeah. And
I taught all my people at that college Robert's Rules of Order.
Yep.
It was something they didn't even know what that was.
Yep.
And I like to think in the back of my mind and in my heart that there are 30 or 40 people out there today that are now probably in their 40s, because they were in their 20s then. They're probably in their 40s that better understand what goes on when they watch C-SPAN than any of their friends.
Yeah.
Because Robert's Rules of Order runs that.
Yeah.
And then I look at where I am today. I'll be 74 years old on Wednesday.
Ooh.
And the world has changed so much since I retired. It shocks me.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Phillip, we're at a little after 11 o'clock. We're coming up on.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you dropping by. We may go live later tonight in the 7 o'clock hour. I'm not sure yet. I have to see what's going on around here. We moved and we're in this beautiful studio now, and we have to use it more than we used it in the bedroom studio in the last house. If we
All right. Well,
needed,
I'm headed over to our local Salvation Army. We have a Saturday afternoon thing that we do with the kids come in and we play some movies, and sometimes we put a game on the TV and we do
yep,
some hot dogs and stuff, and we
yep,
entertain the neighborhood.
good,
It
good.
was nice to visit with you this morning and
Yep,
and
more than
talk.
welcome
So
anytime. More than welcome anytime. And I'm going to just do a few things. And
you have a blessed and wonderful day, sir.
you too. Thank you for coming. All right, hold on. All right, Philip. I want to say Morris, and it's not Morris. It's Marshall. Philip Marshall. He's one of our admins. You'll see him in We Need Patriots and some of the other groups that we have. And you're always welcome in them too. You'll see me around Facebook. You'll see me, you'll see me around YouTube doing this. But if you know of a place to be that isn't quite as conservative as Facebook is, let me know, because I'm actually looking around. Instagram didn't cut it because it was still too many Democrats. Threads was like a Democrat version of X, and that didn't work for me. We were going to move things over there, but that didn't work. We looked at X, but X cost money. We looked at YouTube, that cost money, and they all cost money. The good ones all cost money, or we can't afford to be there because we'd have to spend $1 billion on equipment. But anybody is always welcome to join us on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. Okay, you just have to let me know that either you're here in the live chat and you need a link, or you need a link ahead of time, and you're more than welcome to come and join us. Our regular times are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, around 10 o'clock in the morning, and Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. in the evening. 800,000 shows are on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. So I don't really get involved in the rat race much anymore. There's always something to watch. I like coming on in the times of day where we can be us and you can be you, and we just go from there. So let's see. Tonight is Saturday, 7 p.m. Watch the American Rebellion over on the American Rebellion blogger page, Jerry Michaels and company, and just a bunch of people that like to have fun and talk. And sometimes they yell, sometimes they scream, sometimes, you deserve that. But, in the grand scheme of things, they talk about really interesting stuff. Because Jerry Michaels, who is the host, is a really interesting guy. I like hearing him talk about music. I like hearing him talk about cars, working on cars. Like I said yesterday, working on things that most of us take for granted around our homes. He's a very knowledgeable guy. And if you get a chance, Robert Lawless, who is one of the regulars on the American Rebellion, has a fantastic music video on his page. It's an original song. I don't know the name of the song. I did leave a message that said, do we have permission to share it on a Boogie with the Bull? Because if we do, I will figure out how to do it, and I will actually do it, because it's that good. It really is. The only minus I might have given him is that the microphone seemed a little scrambled, but it could be the old Chromebook that we're using now to do broadcast on is HP Chromebook X360, and which works fantastically. But yesterday things did seem a little scrambled on some things that we were trying to listen to. So we have to figure that out. Our picture is much, much, much cleaner. Waving around in the background there. And it could be the area that we move. I want to thank the people at Xfinity Comcast for helping us get everything set as we could. But anyway, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. and Eastern, and Tuesday, Thursday, right now, 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m., somewhere in there. We're trying to figure it out. It won't be later. There are people going later than 7 p.m. and starting now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can't do that. It's unfortunately too late for me. I take some meds and I'm out by 8:30 if I even make it that long. And I'm awake about 4 o'clock in the morning. So if I had my chance, I'd be in the studio doing something at 5 a.m. But like I said at the beginning, I have to learn how to keep my voice under control in order to do that. But some 5 to 7 might be good. I don't know. We're just growing and having fun as we go along. So you will see this on Facebook everywhere we can post it. You will see it on YouTube. You can take it from YouTube, the Boogie with the Bull channel, and take it and post it anywhere you can. Then, like I said, also, you're welcome to join me on a broadcast anytime. Anybody is. And we will talk about anything. So on that note, it's 67 minutes after we started. So it's a little bit after 11 o'clock. Yep, 11:06. And we're going to give you double V's for victory to wrap this one up and send it back to you wherever you watched it. Have a great day. Have a fantastic